Hello, you sweaty cum jizzles. Welcome back to the I Can't Shut Up Unless You Tell Me To podcast, where normally this is not how we intro. It's just random bullshit coming out of my face hole. But today I'm talking with a dear friend who's going to be on the high soapbox in the near future, Mr. Caleb Broadnax, the owner of the 42 podcast, which is a bunch of trippy DMT Black Joe Rogan bullshit. Speaking of Joe Rogan, that's what we're talking about today.
Hey, we're talking about Black Joe Rogan? Great.
More like we're talking about, like, did you hear about this shit?
Yeah, I heard about it, yeah. It's big. This is big.
It is big. And I mean, Spotify's stock jumped like 11%.
Like, they literally, like, people sleep on the fact, like, that they acquired another Joe Budden. He was the first.
I didn't know. Oh yeah, I didn't know they acquired Joe Budden.
Yeah, this was another move like this, because Spotify is literally offering these podcasters, basically, like these creatives, a space basically to be able to, although Joe Rogan is already reaching millions of people, like same thing as Joe Budden. Joe Budden was reaching millions of people too. But like, this is just gonna like put this shit on steroids, man. Like, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of Joe Budden.
I mean, no, I'm not saying like just as content. I'm speaking of just
just in general. Yo, keep your head there because your fat ass head is like blocking the light that's causing a glare.
But yeah,
but it's like he was always talking about like how exclusivity shit is like bad and stuff, and I'm just like,
wait, who?
Rogan.
Yeah, but it's at the end of the day, like
listen, the amount of money they had to offer him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, has to be absurd.
Why the fuck you think he was talking to Elon Musk about getting a Cybertruck? He knew they backed that money up on him.
Yo, Joe Rogan bought a castle in Texas. Fuck.
Man.
Look, he already like made stupid amounts of money, independent
on his own terms. So
he had to he probably gave that deal to his manager and was like, comb through it, and if you find any bullshit that I'm not gonna like, don't do it. I don't care how much money they give me. So Spotify, I'm guessing, like had to like go and like craft like a deal that's just like the only thing that we're asking is you're on our platform exclusively. That's it.
Well, from my understanding, just to make sure I understand it correctly, like, because he's on YouTube, that's not going to change, obviously, because Joe Budden still posts on YouTube.
Right, but he's posting clips. Apparently Spotify now has their own video ecosystem where the full video, like, I don't know about you, dude. I like the Joe Rogan experience. I don't love it. I like it. I love certain episodes, like anytime he has Neil deGrasse Tyson on, anytime he has Joey Diaz on. Sometimes there's those random people I've never heard of before that I genuinely like and I would have never known about. But
from my motivation presentation, like that and
how sweet
and Charlemagne
to be an idiot.
Yeah, that's what put me on the podcasting, like, and then Joe Rogan like just continued it on. Like, I know I kind of like I've been watching like just like when I watch now when he'll have like an Elon on or something like that, like a big guest on, or like a scientist or some, like if Brian Cox goes on there again, I'm watching it. But it's like
Neil Brennan or Bill Burr when Bill Burr goes on there.
Yeah, Bill Burr, yeah. Like, it's like a guest that I'm really interested in, because like sometimes when he has like, and no, I watch the fight companions where he has like Brian Callen, Brendan Schaub, and Bravo on, like those like his friends, which I like watching.
Bravo's a fucking nut job, but
Eddie Bravo's hilarious.
He knows his jiu-jitsu.
But and that's like sometimes they say things. I feel like Joe says things that he doesn't challenge certain people on. Like sometimes when he has
it's like I feel like he does what any good interviewer does, or what any like interviewer that survives. It's like you can't always ask hard questions because because if you start asking hardball questions at minute 46 and some change, you've still got another 2.25 hours to go. So you've pissed off this person by challenging them on their bullshit the entire, like, it's like when Ben Shapiro goes on. It's like when Rogan does challenge him, it's notable, but like he goes unchallenged on like he just doesn't challenge people a lot.
Especially when it comes to economy, because Joe is somebody who's for Medicare for all. So when you sit in front of Ben Shapiro and Ben Shapiro shits on Medicare for all, and you don't say anything, that's kind of like, what are you doing,
Let's
bro?
be real though, like the Medicare for all, like the being against it is like the reasons that conservatives use for being against it, regardless of taking money out of the equation. The reasons why they're against it are just as like ignorantly optimistic that they condemn liberals for. You
Well,
know,
but on
because
it's
they say
actually,
everybody needs to like people need to pick the like how like people need to go to their community. People need to access their like people like they're it's basically counting on humans not being shitty.
but also it's the fact that the policy itself is conservative in nature because it's the least expensive option that's out there.
It
Like
it 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 it, it is.
the
It's
conservative study, like the conservative study that Bernie uses, the 1.9 trillion or something like that. That's how much it saves us. But literally, there's multiple other studies out there.
always like the problem is that if you're paying $1,000 a month versus having to pay an extra $300 like if you're versus having to pay an extra $300 a month when after a full year in taxes. The problem is people who just hate taxes like without rhyme or reason. They hate them above everything else. They don't give a fuck. Like you paying more taxes is going to save you more money because you're not going to be paying thousands and thousands of dollars. You're going to be saving yourself $700. Now, is this math 100% correct? No, I don't know the numbers exactly off the top of my head because I'm not fucking Ben Shapiro and I don't spend or I'm not what's the fuck's his name? What's the gay dude who caused the second adpocalypse from Vox?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Went after Steven Crowder, who's for like
That's the guy that Steven Crowder was calling like a lispy like queer, like that.
Like for the record, I find like the gay dude insufferable, but I find him a slightly less insufferable than Jason Crowder because I'm just like
Steven Crowder.
what the fuck is it? The most relevant, the only thing I will say thank you to him for is that great meme format, and that's about it.
Well, my thing is with people like Steven Crowder, whether it's a Steven Crowder, Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin's a little less egregious. He's just
what's the black chick's name that she's like the black conservative chick.
Candace Owens is actually a smart girl. Like people
really
dumb. People say she's dumb and ignorant, but the thing is though,
I don't think she's dumb. I think she's paid to be dumb. She's paid to play dumb.
No, the problem is that she uses. When you hear her arguments, the problem is with her is not necessarily her herself. The problem is the conservative intellectual.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
It's like they spout a lot of facts in secession. It's like debating these people is a pain in the ass because they spout a lot of shit. They say where it's from, unless you stop them, make them stop talking, Google it on your phone, find the context, prove that what they were saying is wrong because when in context it's not correct, and then do it for each. Like it's a tactic used by people like in Ben Shapiro's ownage videos. You'll see that he talks a lot of shit.
He just talks fast, bro.
He talks fast, spouts a lot of numbers, a lot of facts. Nobody's able to corroborate it in that moment. And for every fucking Ben Shapiro ownage video you see, there's about 3 or 4 other ones looking up the shit he's referencing, debunking everything he's saying, and then moving and then like say like, but you can't do that in that moment. So, it's not so much the pursuit of fact; it's more so of like it's just to win.
Well, to me, that's just like, and I don't like to demonize like conservatism because there are some conservative ideas I agree with when it
Yes,
comes to
I've
social.
conservative. I think we need to spend less money on bullshit as well. Like you've talked to me. I'm physically myself. I'm physically conservative in terms of my spending. I don't. I'm not frivolous. I invest. I'm smart. You know. I just it's
I
just
just think the way people think of conservatives, they're thinking of the conservative leadership just as when people look at like people on the left, they're looking more so at the leadership, which honestly, like you're looking at a neo-lib instead of like an actual progressive or a lefty, because most of them, like a Barack Obama is no different than fucking Ronald Reagan. They're the same fucking person. He said that out of his own fucking mouth.
leftists hate me as me the liberal more than they hate conservatives.
Well, honestly, I don't think they hate you as the liberal because you don't have the views of like a traditional liberal. You feel me? Like I was just watching this one. He's like an Indian dude on CNN or something like, or NBC, whatever, whichever one of them channels. His name's like
What the
Anand something. He has like gray hair. He's a gray haired Indian dude. But this is a motherfucker, like, so they'll sit here and ask questions like, we can't believe these Trump supporters don't trust the media, blah, blah, blah. When you have this motherfucker who's on live television saying that the reason why the news can't report the news accurately, especially when it comes to Russiagate and when it comes to other things, is because they have a what did he call it? He said a confirmation of mind, or just like
confirmation bias?
no, not confirmation bias. Basically, like these people are just so passionate about their jobs and shit like that that sometimes they just let facts go instead of the fact that it's people up at the top. Whereas if you run a story about Bernie during him and Hillary's campaign against each other, you're going to get fired. That was proven.
Bro,
They fired her.
I shit you not. A homegirl of mine, not gonna name any names, went out on a date with a guy who was a staffer at the DNC. Now she is a moderate. Her family is Republican.
Mm-hmm.
All of them voted for Donald Trump. They all have valid reasons why. She like we like he called her like Republicans and conservatives the devil, and like just like she says like in basic it's just like the whole like she's just like no red flag red flag red flag, you know.
Mm-hmm.
and she's still hanging with the motherfucker, you know. And I'm just like, and she's like, and she tells me, she's like, desperate times, desperate times, desperate time, you know, But it's like,
But wait, hold up. It's more so like, so he was on TV talking about the reason why they didn't report the news on Iraq the right way is because they were just so passionate about wanting to save lives and shit like that, which is why they couldn't like. You had all these fact-checking sources that were telling you like there's no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We should not be going into this country, yet you still ran stories about that, knowing that it was a fucking lie.
here's my thing. You know what I think would have been more acceptable? I kind of agree with Bill Maher's take a little bit on it. He said that if George Jr. came up, said to the American people, these motherfuckers attacked us. They killed thousands of Americans. I want revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And then just yeet it into Desert Storm 2.0 Electric Boogaloo. That would have been like I feel like in hindsight.
Well, you know what I would say to Bill Maher? I would say, well, that in that case, we need to attack Saudi Arabia, who supplies the majority of our oil and allows for us to prop our dollar up as the most sought after currency in the world. Because majority, I think it was like, with the exception of like 3 people that committed the September 11th attacks, were Saudi Arabians that committed those attacks. So we need to be invading Saudi Arabia, not Iraq. That's what I would tell
You
them.
also got to remember that like Bush and his family, like that this was the early 2000s, and like conservatives were much more racist than they are now. They just hide the shit better.
Oh yeah, for sure. But then you got lefties like Ellen.
They're just looking for someone brown to bomb. That was about it.
Well, it's not about race, and that's what people need to stop boiling it down to. It's about fucking money. Like, people forget Dick Cheney was running the White House then, not fucking Bush.
Bush Jr. was a fucking puppet for 4 years.
But he just wanted to get into the White House to impress his daddy. That's all he wanted.
Dick Cheney's the devil.
Yeah, but the thing is, people like allow like certain things that Bush did, like for example, like the stem cell research and shit like that. You know, his stances on gay marriage, how he publicly fought against it as a sitting president and shit like that. They like to focus on that, except for the fact that Dick Cheney literally made his company Halliburton like trillions of dollars richer during his term in office. I wonder why that is.
Because at the end of because when both sides, it's because it goes kind of back, I think, to the media bit of it. When the liberals fuck up, Fox News has a fun time.
Yeah, for sure.
MSNBC that barely mentions it. When the conservatives fuck up, MSNBC has a fun time. Fox News talks about the new hamburger emoji from iPhone.
I don't know about that because Tucker Carlson like has been challenging Trump on multiple occasions.
And so is Christopher Wallace. And how well do you think Christopher Wallace and Tucker Carlson are? Like, OAN is taking sizable chunks of Fox's market share just because there is a population of people who want to live in a world where their president isn't fucking up. And they want to pretend everything's okay, which I get that. I was that during the Obama era.
Yeah, and that's what
I will never be that again. I think Obama was smooth. I think he was as far as presidents go, he wasn't bad. I feel like he could have done some things better. And I also feel, and him, just like Donald Trump and Bush and every president since the signing of the Geneva Convention, is a war criminal.
Deserve to be in prison. They should be in prison. And
on that happy note, I know you got a bunch of shit you got to get done tonight.
I feel you, but we got to talk about this more because it's so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you on the high soapbox soon.
Yeah, for real. Because like, it's like it's so much.
By the way, I don't edit like you do on that bullshit. If you play fucking Kendrick's Damn album or some bullshit, I'm just cutting your episode because I ain't ending that bullshit out.
I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna be unprofessional like some people. Sips beer.
I'm sorry, you fat fuck. Weren't you supposed to be drinking gin?
Fucker.
Then why are you sipping a Yingling?
It's called a cheat day. You allow yourself a cheat day, sir.
You know, a diet is a change of lifestyle, not a temporary thing.
Yeah, I understand it's a change of lifestyle, but whenever you change a lifestyle, does a junkie just stop doing drugs like literally the next day? No.
The only ones that physically can't are alcoholics.
See, I'm not an alcoholic. I already know I'm not an alcoholic. I've seen alcoholics. I know I'm not an alcoholic.
My daddy's an alcoholic. Fuck that man.
I feel you.
But either way, man, it's always a pleasure. We'll see you guys. Should we do it? Go check them out. Go check out the 42 podcast on Anchor.
42 podcast. Go to my YouTube page, The Filmatic, if you're into movies. Also starting a political YouTube channel pretty soon called the American Autopsy. I would like to have Evan on there, a couple times. Obviously we like talking politics sometimes. So, yeah, but definitely.
Yeah, I'll debate your ass tooth and nail on some bullshit.
Hey, I'm with it.
Well, my centrist ass is gonna fight you.
I don't like to have debates. I like to have an exchange of ideas.
Sure.
But definitely check out the Filmatic, though. Definitely check out the Filmatic.
Either way, man. Thanks. I'll see you later. Or not you. Well, we're on fucking Zoom right now recording this bullshit for those listening and the fucker watching in this video. That's you. We're gonna probably just stop recording and then shoot the shit for another 5 minutes before he has to go and scramble and get his homework done in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Toodle!